America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sorry for the delay. Who are we blaming on? Oh, it's Diana. We'll blame Diana. At this time, public input on agenda and non-agenda items. I welcome any members of the audience to speak at this time. Please tell us who you are. Or not. Budget discussion, Mr. Carmelo.
All right, thank you. So tonight starts our the board part of the budget work. The budget works really all year round, but now starts our presentations and our discussions so that we can get to the finish line in April. Are you going to sit there and do that?
Just as a kid.
There you go. You lost the
No, we got one more.
Point now, man.
No, we'll come back.
There you go.
Wow. All right, I just got to get closer.
Speak.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Always start with our mission statement. Troy City School District will provide a strong educational and social foundation to graduate all students, college and career ready. It's the forefront of all of our decisions. I say it every year when you're creating a budget for any organization, but certainly a school district, we have to have that mission statement in mind. We're trying to put a budget together that will allow that to be a reality. We continue to be proud of everything that's happened in the district. In October, Dr. Watson and I gave the State of the District kind of address, talking about all the great things going on. Here are just some of the highlights, but that board presentation, the whole thing is on our website if people are interested or weren't here for it. The district proficiency rates, grade 3 through 8 testing, well above our pre-pandemic rates in both ELA and math. We met district goal number 1. Remember, district goal number 1, also talking about the grade 3 through 8 assessments, talks about 20% of 1s will go to 2s, 3s, and 4s the following year, and 20% of 2s will go to 3s and 4s, talking about continuous improvement for all of our students. So this past year in ELA, the 27% of the 1s moved up, and 31% of the 2s moved up, and in math it was 34 and 36. So really proud of that district goal number 1 being met. 5 of our 6 schools had their highest math proficiency rate. 3 out of our 6 had double-digit math increases. School 2 was the highest at 19%. Carroll Hill increased in both ELA and math. School 16 outperformed the state in both ELA and math. Obviously, super proud of that. And then School 2 removed from receivership after 9 years in that status, according to the state. So really proud of all of that stuff going on. Always like to kind of rehash some of it at the start of this process, just so we know what we're trying to put a budget together for. The budget's going to be to keep doing that stuff, right? How do we sustain the progress and build on those successes? How do we ensure we're meeting the needs of all the students? How do we maintain our environment of continuous improvement? And of course, how do we do it in the most fiscally responsible way? Our budget calendar was approved in December 4th meeting. You'll see at the end, our draft 1 will come at the next February meeting, 26th. And then we get all the way to the end where our budget the budget vote will be May 20th. Hopefully, the state budget usually is around the first week of April. Hopefully that's still the case. And then the board will be adopting the budget probably on the 22nd of April. So we got some time. We'll have some drafts in there. We'll do a lot of advocacy in the middle. You'll see some of the general stuff tonight as we start the process. Citizens Advisory Committee. Thank you to Nathaniel and Joelle, and Aaron is back. The best part about these guys is they've been with us for a few years now. So their experience is going to help, their knowledge of what we're doing and what we've been doing, the trends of what's been happening. We don't have to rehash the whole thing with them. So appreciate you being here and appreciate your input throughout the process. Program review, data-driven decisions. We do it all day long. We make all of our decisions based on data, but certainly when it comes time to budget. So these last couple days have been really busy for the cabinet. We've met with every single principal and all the department administrators, all the directors, to talk about their individual building and or department budgets. Some years we ask them to come with things they would like to enhance it, to better help the students. Some years we ask them to come with possible cuts. Last year, remember, we asked them to actually prioritize 1 through 17 or 18 or 19, however many things they had. Most important, most impactful for students down to least impactful. That's a tough process. It's tough enough to put things in tiers. Hey, these are the tier 1s, these are the tier 2s, but we actually asked them to rank them in order. It gave us some really good information. This year, it's a little bit uncertain, which you'll see in a minute. So we've kind of asked them to be conservative. So really the meetings the last couple of days have had both things. If I could add, these are some things I think would be helpful to students. If I have to subtract, these are some things that I think, although we need them, this would be the first things I would tell you that we might be able to figure out a way to do without. And then always a comprehensive, thorough budget analysis. Adam's not here tonight, he's sick, but there's nobody better than him at doing what he does. And so, we are looking at that stuff all year long, and we're planning years ahead of time so that any kind of bump in the road we can navigate through effectively. Those are the same 2 lenses I put up every year as well, but I think it's important to keep reminding ourselves what we're doing. Right? When you're making a budget, we want that budget to be educationally sound. We want it to be what our students need to be successful. The mission statement I had already put up there, all the district goals. What staffing and programs do we need? What supports do we need? Some students take longer, need more supports for them to be successful. So what are those supports? How do we best support our students in their academic achievement and in their whole child development, right? And all of the things that make them successful students. So that's the educationally sound piece. If there was no worry about fiscally responsible, we could just add everything that the principals and directors and cabinet think we need and move on. But obviously that's not reality. You also have to balance that lens with being fiscally responsible and being good stewards of the taxpayers' money. I'm not sure there's any district that does it better than we do it, really. I'm being serious there. We've been mindful of our overburdened taxpayers. We continue to search for other funding sources. Just the most recent one is the Stronger Connections Grant, where is it 30% or more of our students being mentored, on a regular basis through that Stronger Connections Grant. Always looking for other grants and other funding sources. Julie Curry does a great job of that. Under the tax cap for the last 12 years, I didn't really need a reminder, but I did look at it just to see. The last 4 have been 0, right? And so we've always said to the state, when we need to advocate, I'm going to give a little history of the foundation aid issues that we had back, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years ago. We always told the legislators, if you give us the money we're due, we'll make sure, that we're keeping the taxpayers in mind. And we've done that. As we got that money, as the foundation aid became fully funded, as the federal money came, we've kept that 0. And then I looked, for the last 9 years, it was a total increase of 5%. So really about 0.5% a year it averaged over those 9 years. So I think we really do a great job. I think I said last year, if I didn't, I'll say it now, I'm not sure we can do a 0 again if the state budget stays the way it is right now for us, and you'll see that in a minute. But we had state and federal money over the last few years. We did a great job with that as well, I think. We put things in place that really, really helped our students recover from the pandemic. and take care of that achievement gap that a lot of schools were facing, a lot of students were facing, and we put a lot of supports in place. Some of them you'll see in a minute. We've kept, past the federal money, and now it's time to start weaning them out. And I said before, long-term, multi-year strategic planning, which we do regularly. Yeah, how frustrated I am when I click it. I hear you giggling, but I don't like to click it and have it not move. Is that the next slide? That's what I can't tell. So from there to there. Okay.
Yeah, do that.
Thank you very much. So Foundation Day, quick look back. So for those of you that were around, I went back to 2006-07. You'll see if you already have your packet in front of you, Mr. O'Donnell gave us like every single year what the Foundation Day formula says we should have gotten and what we actually got. Which there were years in that, from 2006-07, I became superintendent in 13, right? So I was assistant soup in 10, 11, 11, 12, no, 11, 12, 12, 13. And so Dr. Howard and I at that time started going down to the legislature, started talking about money. But there were years where we were $11 million underfunded. I mean, think about that. Our increase this year, you'll see in a minute, is $1.2 million. And it's not enough. But, I mean, during those years where we were $9 million, $10 million, $11 million underfunded, I mean, that really, really hurt our school district, really, really hurt our students, and we said it every year. So I thought it was important to just go back and just remind people of where we were. And our advocacy, and it wasn't just us, we're part of the small city school district group, and throughout the state, people were advocating for this Foundation Aid formula, and it's time to fully fund it. So then COVID comes. Governor Cuomo that year just kept everybody's aid flat, so you got no increase, so that was a tough year as far as trying to maintain staff and programs. And then getting out of COVID, that's when the federal money started coming in, and at the same time, we got a commitment from the governor and the legislators to have a 3-year phase-in to fully fund the formula. So that's when our increases really started happening, and it got fully funded in 23-24, and that was great news. And I think the slide that year said it's great news, but then it said but, right? And the but is, now what happens? Because when districts are fully funded, now everybody's fully funded, right? And so during that time, from 06-07 to 18-19, when we were complaining we were $11 million underfunded, there were, I mean, it kept increasing, but at that time it was probably 40% of the districts were already fully funded and still getting increases, right? That was the safe, harmless conversation that we always had. And so, what happens for those districts that are already fully funded? They would get 1%, 2%, 3%, depending on the year. So now, if everybody's fully funded, what happens? And that's where the uncertainty still is in play for this year, for going into next year, and into the future. So that's where we still got to be a little bit cautious. So there's the whole history. You don't have to read the whole thing, but it goes all the way back there. You see the differences. I mean, think about that money in a cumulative sense. Even if you start with like 13, 14, 5 million, and then almost 8 million, and over 9 million, almost 7 million, like that's a lot of money that we could have done great things with. But then as we get closer to 21, 22, then 22, 23, and then finally 23, 24, we get what the formula says. And so, I mean, that cumulative amount is staggering there, that we were underfunded over those years. But that was the fight at the time. It's really great that they took care of us for 3 years. And again, at the same time, that federal money was coming in, so we really had to be careful and strategic about what we were spending that money on to help our students, to help the district, but also to not put us in a financial cliff when the time came for that to go away, which it now has. So now we're fully funded. I put that in quotes because remember last year, we didn't get as much as we thought we were going to get with the formula. She changed the CPI. She, the governor, I put it in there at the bottom there, new CPI. So she changed it from the CPI the year before to a rolling average. So that hurt us We didn't get quite as much money. She also talked a lot about the Safe Harmless districts that I just referenced, and she talked about, she tried in her executive budget last year in January to cut them and just say, if you're already at the formula, that's it, you're not getting any more, or you're going to be cut even to get down to the formula if you're over the formula. It's funny, that was one of the biggest fights last year between the legislators and the governor. And then she, and maybe it's a little bit out of order, if you go up there, she ordered a study of the foundation formula. The Rockefeller group did it. They actually did a pretty good job. They came out with a report in December. It's 300 some odd pages. But it really was comprehensive. It did a full-on review and had a lot of different things. One of the main things it said was, and coming out in December, there's no way it really can be in play for this budget season. So they probably should have, with it coming out in December, I think people thought maybe that could be part of the January budget. And the governor does take a couple of things which it says not to do. It says take a look at this whole thing. Don't piecemeal taking pieces out, you know, and it's kind of just exactly what she did. But that study will get reviewed and analyzed, and there's still supposed to be a new formula that's going to happen, but it won't come out until next year to worry about. So this year is kind of like a transition year. She took a few of the things. I guess I'm not there yet. So now that we're fully funded, though, I've been saying we need to be conservative, strategic, right? The federal funding was ending. There was really uncertainty, and that's where I just was. There's a lot of uncertainty still about what that new foundation aid formula is going to look like. The talk always is districts like ours that depend on state aid more than other districts are going to be taken care of, if that's a way to say it. It didn't quite happen yet, but hopefully when the new formula is put into place, that still will be the case. We had about 30 positions last year, and because we still were getting that fully funded amount coming in, and we had saved some of the federal money, we were able to absorb those 30 into the budget last year. And remember, those were social workers. We now, I think, 2 in each building. Is that right, Fred? At least 2 in each building. That's great stuff. And again, coming out of the pandemic, our students and our staff needed those. The attendance positions that have been so crucial for us in each building. The co-teach model, which means there's 2 certified teachers over the last 3 years in many of our classrooms. So more individualized, more targeted instruction and attention to our students. All of those things paid huge dividends. So when it came time last year, we were able to put those in the general fund. That we knew at that time, that's not sustainable to add 30 positions. So we had an attrition plan that went in place, and we've had 3 or 4 this year, actually the co-teachers, that have left for whatever reason, and we have not filled those. And that's how we've been doing it over the last couple of years. There'll be some decisions to make now, but we're not in a terrible spot because, and you've heard me say it before as well, and we'll talk about it as we move along in the process, our class sizes are still really, really great at the elementary level. And again, last year, because we had the money, we didn't have to change those, but there's some changes we can make and still be in the teens, which is still great. So. But for a typical year, to maintain the things we got with all the increases in health insurance and salary and all that, it's about between $2.6 and $3 million. So her executive proposal comes out, and she's actually, one of the problems is, if you listen to NISBA or NISCUS or any of the other groups, they're pretty happy with it, because if you see the second line there, her foundation aid increased $1.4 million, almost 6% increase. That's a pretty big increase. Except for those 3 years where we were phasing the full one in, that's as big as executive proposals have been in a long time. The problem for us is, she picked a couple of things from that Rockefeller report, and there they are there. She replaced the 2000 So the current formula, I say current, but now it's not current anymore, they're not using it. But the formula that we've been using on the other slide used the 2000 census poverty gap. That's too old, right? It's too old. Cities have changed, Troy has changed, but other cities certainly have changed in terms of how poor they are. So that's the right change. They're now using the most recent census small area income poverty, which is called SAPE data. And they changed the free and reduced lunch data, which used to be, if you remember, you used to have to fill out the forms, put your income in, everybody filled it out, and then the people that qualified were told they get the free and reduced lunch. We are now a community education, community eligibility plan school, so all of our kids get free lunch, at breakfast. So people aren't filling out those forms, so that data gets a little bit skewed. So I think both of these are the right move. That's a new economically disadvantaged data, and Adam's still trying to get behind the scenes on that and figure out what that is. So those two are reasonable, and those were both in the Rockefeller study, and we want those to be changed, but when you just change those, it actually ended up hurting us a little bit. And that's so we're already on the phone with John McDonald. He's been great. Actually, Senator Ashby's office called as well. So we started that already, which I'll say later to see. And they did a slight support for high needs districts. And actually, Adam wanted to change that to very high needs because we didn't even qualify. The very, very, very poor districts are going to get a little bit more of the money. And then the bottom line there, every district's getting 2%. So all of those districts that for the last 13 years have already been getting the formula and then increases, everybody gets 2%. That's the minimum amount according to the governor. And that's the amount we got, which was really disappointing. So I saw this first, and I was disappointed that everybody was getting 2% because, again, those districts that were overfunded all those years, I still find that really hard to swallow that they still keep getting increases. When you go back, if I can go back, I can't. 114 million is outrageous, but even 10, 11 million, like we've been underfunded all that time. So just because we caught up now doesn't really make sense that we should be out. But every district gets at least 2%, and then our number was when we did our run, ours was 2%. Really disappointing. So we're on it. I sent an email immediately to John McDonald and said, the governor has a slide that says, the high needs districts like Troy will get the majority of the money, and then we get 2%, John. And the districts around us that are not high needs, that some of them got 5% and 6%. So we're trying to figure it out. Again, with the changes, she picked and chose some things. We're hoping that some changes are made. Again, the issue is going to be when people see the big number, the 1.4 million, they think, okay, she's taking care of schools. But it matters, the devil's in the details, as they say. And that's great for the state, that we're afraid that nobody's going to be advocating for us, so we'll have to advocate for ourselves. So that 2%, as I said before, we're about 2.6 to 3 million to maintain everything we have. So that's not nearly enough to do that. Again, high needs, low wealth districts like ours are more dependent, and our advocacy analysis has already begun. We're not, that's not a great slide, and I agree, and we don't want it to end like that. If it ends like that, we've been cautious and conservative enough that we can get through a year. We'll have to make some, again, I talked about our class sizes, and that'll be where, the discussions will come in as we move on in this process. Our class sizes can go up a little bit, so we can save some things there, and there's some other things that we're looking at to try to do. But we have some work cut out for us right now. There are districts that got that first run from the governor. They're probably going to approve their budget this week. They got 6%. They got $8 million, and they're in the spot we were in a couple years ago where they're trying to figure out how to spend it. So we're back to gonna have to fight for our stuff. So we'll get more detail on the 26th. Questions, anyone?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So, is it? Okay. So, I have been familiar with the designation high needs. Is very high needs a new designation? Because I haven't heard that
I don't
term
know if
used
it's
before.
new. I'm sick today, so when I sent him the presentation, he said change high needs to very high needs. So I don't know that it's new. It's something with the that combined wealth ratio. You know what those things are. So in the point, he said Schenectady is a good example of the very high needs. They're 0.93 now. They changed it from 0.91 to 0.93. He'll have to answer that next time.
Okay.
Because I don't know if it's an official designation, but in this third thing here, the maximum state sharing ratio, he said, we don't qualify anymore. And I don't know if we used to or not. So if you remember to ask on the 26th, I'll have an answer.
Thanks.
Other questions? Okay. We'll get there. Again, I wish we were in the position that some other districts were, but we'll end up there. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Motion on the floor for approval of minutes January 22nd, 2025.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Superintendent recommendation, human resources. Staff matters, unclassified and classified. Under unclassified, motion on the floor for consent agenda items 1 through 12.
Second.
Under discussion, Gina, are you in the audience?
Right there.
Gina is being tenured tonight, so I want to congratulate you. I officially welcome you into our family. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Under classified, motion on the floor for consent agenda items 1 through 5.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? Under superintendent recommendation programs, motion on the floor for consent agenda items 1 through 3.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? Under superintendent recommendations programs, motion on the floor for consent agenda items 1 and 2. Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? Under board resolution, motion on the floor for agenda item number 1, Citizens Advisory Committee.
Second. She didn't even get approved. I should have answered her question.
Yeah, really?
I didn't answer it anyway.
Discussion. All those in favor? Opposed? Under board resolution, motion on the floor to add item number 2, superintendent appeal determination.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Under board resolution, motion on the floor for approval of the I'm going to read it. Whereas on January 6, 2025, the Board of Education received an appeal from a student suspension imposed by the superintendent of schools on November 22, 2024, regarding the student named in confidential Schedule A. And whereas the Board of Education has considered the appeal solely based upon the record before it. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the Board of Education hereby denies the appeal of the parent of the student listed in confidential Schedule A. Be it further resolved, the Board of Education authorizes the district clerk to send a letter to the appealing parents notifying them of the Board of Education's determinations and their rights to appeal such determination. Do I have a second?
Oh, second.
Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? District announcements. Future board meetings. All meetings will take place at 6 p.m. February 25th is at Carroll Hill. March 12th will be back here. One of the announcements, Quest Art 3 has their annual meeting. We don't usually, we usually have a board meeting that night, but we used to go. I mean, years ago, it used to be on a Tuesday, so we could all go, and they're really interesting. So I'll hand out these, and anybody that wants to go, I'll be going, so if somebody wants to ride with me or not. But if you want to go, there will be some of us going, so I will hand those out. Good news. Let's see. Last Thursday, School of 14 welcomed 12 future teachers from Russell Sage College who will complete a practicum, how do you say that? Practicum at School 14 for the remainder of their semester. School 14 students welcome the Russell Sage students during their monthly school-wide morning program. School 18 is gearing up for their annual student talent show scheduled for next Thursday at 6 o'clock. We look forward to seeing what our students come up with this year. Next Friday, February 14th, Troy High is holding its annual Black History Day event. The event will feature over a dozen guest speakers from different professions, including local black community leaders. Troy High counselors Ms. Witt and Ms. Phillips took a group of THS students to the annual Students Together Opposing Prejudice, or STOP, conference at the Siena College at the end of January. These students' leaders collaborated with other schools and developed an action plan to create a more inclusive and welcoming school environment for all. The boys' varsity swim team merged with CBA in Columbia, finished the regular season with a perfect 8-0 record. Rocco Jabor, the only Troy swimmer on the team, finished an individual race in first or second place at every meet this season, including 6 first-place finishes. He was also part of several first-place team finishes. According to the swim meet tracking site SwimCloud, Rocco was ranked 75th in the state. The team now begins preparing for sectionals on February 14th and 15th. Congratulations. Good luck. The boys indoor track team finished in 3rd place in the Colonial Council Championships on Sunday. The team also finished in 3rd place in the conference for the season. Congratulations to the track team. Anybody else have anything? Okay. I always have to ask John. We view the audience and see how well everybody's looking off.
I don't think they ever knew that, I told you yes.
Yeah. Oh, well, okay, so now I throw you right under the bus. Mr. Canfield, do you have any good news for me?
I do. Mr. Cartwright?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
Is there anybody else you can bounce that off of?
This Friday, we're looking forward to a group that we've had before, a performance group that really connected with our students. They're young, energetic actors and actresses, and they're going to put on a performance regarding the Underground Railroad. And all of our students will be at, they're right up front, they're not even 8 feet away, and we had such a good experience last time. We invited them back and we're thrilled, so that'll be something on Friday for us to, and our students to enjoy.
Oh, yeah, that sounds great. Who else can I? Mario, you're never in our audience. And it's a welcome to see you there. And you don't try to hide behind Rich.
Just every day anyway. So.
Mario's there because he wants to talk me into a snow day tomorrow.
Ah, talking today. All On my way here, I got one of my texts. Do you know about tomorrow? I said, I don't know about today, let alone tomorrow. Carl, how's it going in transportation?
We have a very good team in transportation right now. Between Mr. Hurley and Amber Thomas as the secretary, we're doing really well.
I can honestly say in the 18 years that I've been on this board, yeah, I know. This was a beginning, from the beginning to right now. I mean, sure, the principals, you know, they say, you know, the buses are late or whatever. But parents, I mean, really, has any of us heard? I mean, this is great. So, you know, I mean, no, and I mean, I know that, but thank you for
I
that.
mean, the attendance incentive is really marked, right?
The attendance incentive
Got
is
like
really well.
90% attendance.
Yes,
going.
I didn't get the numbers for this month, for January. I didn't get those months.
Wow.
Last month was 37%.
97% drivers and 3%.
Wow, isn't that nice?
We've gotten some positive feedback from parents and from administrators also that we shared with John and Nadia and
Yeah, I'll put
Adam.
those in the photo, so it's good.
Yeah, I walked by a couple, Lamont was putting kids on buses today, and I walked by, and both the bus drivers, they have no idea who we are or anything. They were like, "Hi, how are you?" And I was like, "My God, she probably actually likes her job." You know, I mean, which is a great thing, you know, I mean, it makes everything, including the kids, a better environment for them, so.
I think we deserve a snow day.
I get a kick out of when teachers text me, and I'm like, yeah, you don't want to know my answer, I have to go to work.
Great job, guys, though.
Yeah, good job. There you go. Let's see, is that, let's see, who else do we have? Josh, tell me something good. Okay, I read it, okay, tell me something good that's going on.
I took 20 seniors to see the governor, and it was a pretty interesting event. It's all political as you could make it. They told us the kids would have a chat with her for an hour and a half, and then it went from an hour and a half to an hour, and then we were with her for 28 minutes. But it was a nice experience. It's as really.
Well, you're lucky it was her and they didn't send in somebody else, you know, that's what usually
No,
happens.
and listen, that's what I said to the kids, because they asked a lot of great questions, and they really wanted more, and as we were leaving, they're like, is this it? And I said, yes, guys, this is politics. It was a really neat experience for us.
Oh, good.
And me, I mean, it was great.
Great,
Yeah.
great. Well, I'll end it here, but, does any board member have anything? Okay. Everybody be safe tomorrow. And hopefully everybody will be in their sweats watching TV. Motion on the floor to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.